We say a pleasant good evening to our next guest, former government minister and a former MP, of course, Miss Christine Newallo Hosein. Pleasant good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Mikey, and to all your listeners.
Viewers, yeah, all viewers, all listeners. Yeah. How are you feeling? You're a bit under the weather?
No, not at all, not at all.
All right. What have you been seeing? I know that you function you were once the Minister of Ministry of the People and Social Development. And one of the things, Mr. Newallo Hosein, we're seeing a lot of, especially at traffic lights, it's a lot of socially displaced people. Someone called me last week and saying Arima, just walking through Arima, they're seeing so many people coming from other areas just on the pavement, living. And I guess basically that has a lot to do with the entire economy and what's taking place. But also, the Minister of Social Development, Ms. Donna Cox, says that laws are coming for involuntary removal of homeless people. And they're also, of course, turned the sud to construction of a new $50 million assessment center and temporary housing facility for socially displaced persons. Now, you've been there, you've seen it firsthand. What say you? Weighing in on that.
Well, the thing about it is that I don't know where the facility is being constructed. Do you know where they indicated?
Somewhere in Port Spain, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, okay. All right. I know that we had property on Queen Street, and we were looking at putting up a facility. The only thing about it is that we were going to follow the Chapman facility that is located in Miami, where it's more or less private PPP function, where government would have facilitated only by putting in place legislation. And of course, we had a building in place. One of the things that we learned from the Chapman experience is that most persons do not want to go outside of the city.
Right.
And as a result of it, you have to build a community, sort of, but not one where it encourages the lifestyle. It in fact is supposed to bring about a change in your disposition in life, to begin to form an alliance with the education system, with workplaces, so that families can be reunited, because sometimes you find that persons are living on the streets because of substance abuse,
Right.
Because of having emotional and mental issues. So many issues that can be dealt with if you have the right facility in place and the right treatment. So this is what we had in place back in 2015, and nothing has been done since then. So for them to come and say that they're building this $50 million facility and they're going to do all these wonderful things long after the fact, I think it's just regurgitation of ideas that will never materialize, unfortunately.
Yeah, because you have the minister saying that it's a collaborative approach that needs to be taken. The Ministry of Health, rehabilitation centers, and members of the public have to encourage individuals living on the streets to seek assistance. And I think that seems so disconnected because, as you mentioned, every case is a different case, different circumstances, why someone is there, people who may have some sort of mental problem, may have had some disability. So one would think that the assessment is the key here as far as getting these people back into society as productive citizens. One of the things, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with
I think one of the things, and I did bring this up to Dr. Glenn Ramadas Singh, one of the things that was not taking place was having that person who could be the poster child, who went through the system, got an ID card, who was able to, get back in and reconnect with society. I mean, it's very, very important. But there's also, of course, some elements where you have family members who come out and say, well, why you move my uncle? And where's my uncle? Where's my cousin? What's going on? And that would have caused some problems as well. I mean, just how does one go about to start getting things going, even reaching to the point of assessing these individuals who need the assistance?
Well, the thing about it, of social workers, even in the ministry. I have worked privately with the with victims through Diana Wyatt, and what happened was that whenever we tried to collaborate with the ministry back then, they would say they have it under control, but they did not have the wherewithal, they did not have the human resource to be able to send out to persons to be able to counsel and so forth. So if they didn't have it back then, they destroyed any hope of what it is we were attempting to do while we were in government. I don't see them having any ideas as how it is to be done. They lack the political will, they lack the insight, the foresight, and the ability to be able to manage something like this. This is why I don't believe that it should be government run. It should be an initiative, yes, of the government by putting, again, I said legislation and the building and so forth, housing, connecting everything, but allow the persons who have the ability to run it, who have the ideas, who have the foresight, who have the experience to be able to bring in that level of partnership to the whole idea of bringing about the change that we so desperately need in our country.
I agree with you.
Of course, it's not going to improve if we don't have economic activity. You know, you could have the best of facilities and everything else, but if there is a downturn, a continued downturn in the economy, you're going to find more persons on the street because they can't afford, you know, their homes, their rent, their mortgages, whatever it may be. You know, I have already referred to persons who were the middle class, and the middle class is what really supports a buoyant economy. If you have a reduced middle class to a working poor, then you're going to have the situation escalated.
And I agree. I agree with you, of course. So many circumstances that need to take place that in order for us to get this right. Rushton Paris said that the budget should have been a beacon of hope. What say you?
It should have been. As I indicated in my release just about a week ago, I said this budget is not only a major deviation from the truth of the actual state of our nation, but it's a false sense of security, you know, to especially the most vulnerable. If you look at the DP, if you look at everything that is there, all these projects have been there, and the monies would have been just, you know, lying there, not spent or diverted somewhere else. There is no activity. I mean, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to see that there is no economic activity that is taking place in the country. Wherever it is taking place, it is just at a certain level to a certain few. But it is not trickling down. It is not impacting. It has not, you know, caused persons to become excited about what is taking place. As a matter of fact, people are very concerned. They're very worried. And that, you know, that fear of the unknown is very real for a lot of people.
Yeah, and you're right, and I want to agree with you 100%. And I guess moving forward, if you had in your own words, looking at what 2024, 2025, how would you define that as far as moving forward?
2024, 2025, it's a year where persons have to recognize that they need to make a change. They need to see that, you know, what they have been electing for the past how much years is not working for them, and they need to step out in faith that, you know, well, you know, I'm NTA, that Gary Griffith can make a difference. He can make a difference. Mikey, I want to tell you something.
Go ahead.
During the local elections, Gary went through the hills of Beaumont and Laventille because we had those seats. We had those
candidates there. Yeah.
And let me tell you something. The people came out. Now, he had no gun. He had no security. He did not have anything to say that, you know, he caused people to be, you know, to respect him or anything like that because of any sort of security around him. Nothing like that. And the people came out. People came out and hugged him and told him that they loved him. And I'll tell you something. You know, someone was telling me just after the elections, they said, you know, I want to tell you this. He said, no former or current commissioner of police could walk through Laventille without security.
Yeah.
None. And it goes to tell you that people are looking forward to something new, something fresh, someone who can, make a difference in their lives. And it tells you that people are crying out for help. They are crying out for help, and they are crying out to persons who they feel can really make a difference in their lives. And so I think 2024, 2025, not in terms of the budget, but in terms of preparing for a general election, very, very hopeful. Very hopeful.
Very true. I want to thank you so much for taking time out this evening to link with us. It has definitely been a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you back in a position where you can help those, especially those who are so vulnerable and need the assistance that they need. Also, Errol Fabian said to tell you good night and pleasant good evening to you. So he said, thank you so much, Mr. Newallo. Christine, thank you so much, and keep up the good work. Best of luck to you and your entire team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.